Alright, so we got to get our aluminum cut to size. I'm just using a circular saw, a regular everyday wood blade, but you take your wood blade and flip it around. Make sure you wear your safety glasses and earmuffs. It will shoot metal and it will be loud. But a circular saw with a blade turned around will cut aluminum, vinyl siding, metal roofing, whatever you have. Just turn a regular blade backwards and it cuts right through it. So, once I get it cut to size, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it up on the horses, clean all my edges off, and then get ready to drill all the bolt holes. So you can see there, it's an old street sign. I'm lucky a friend of mine is a union carpenter, and they replaced a ton of street signs going up Route 70, and they had a bunch of extra that they had brought home that they were using for shelves. So it's a nice, good, heavy, thick aluminum, and it's a good quality. So, once I get the edges cleaned up here, I'm just going to go ahead and drill out my outer ring of holes, what's going to bolt it down. I decided to use carriage bolts here so that I didn't have a head sticking up, that I have a round, smooth surface on the top so nothing can catch on it. Now, a carriage bolt has a square on the shank to make it lock into place. So, I drill out the holes in 1/4 inch, and then I have to take a square file to every single hole on this thing. So there was a lot of filing involved, but on the aluminum it did not take long. Call it a bit tedious, but it was not a bad project. So once I get everything drilled out on the first one, I take the second one and throw it on top and flip them over, so I can just mirror all the holes, and all the holes are symmetrical between both sides. And then once I do that, I have to file out all the holes on that. But like I said, it's really not bad. Aluminum goes fast. Alright, so here all I got to do is get my surface cleaned up and prepped. That way I don't have any dirt or debris on it. And I'm going to throw the aluminum up on top of the roof, get it all fitted in. And then I'm going to have to pre-drill all my holes. And once I get that completed, make sure my aluminum is sitting directly in place, I'm going to make my ridge cap that will go up the center of the two pieces of aluminum. Alright, so now we're getting prepped to put our aluminum in its final resting home. It will have to come back off again, but I need to get everything located where it is going to go, get all the holes pre-drilled. That way when I do go to put it on permanently and silicone everything, it sits right down on there. I drop the bolts in and bolt it down. But for right now, I'm just drilling out my holes, and I'm dropping in bolts as I go around so it doesn't wiggle around on me and shift out of place. So my goal here is to get the ridge cap made that will need to go over the center of both pieces and cover the seam, which is also the original seam in the aluminum of the roof. So that all needs covered. But this is pretty straightforward. Now I'm not drilling any holes in the center because the ridge cap will go there. So I'm just drilling my holes on the outside edges and in the middle of the panels. Alright, so you can see here, we got all of our bolts in. They sit nice and flush with the roof of the camper, and there's no big hex head bolts sticking out. So now it's time for the seam, the ridge vent if you will, to cover up this seam. It'll be about 5 inches wide, 110 inches long, and go front to back. And I'm going to go ahead and make it out of this piece. Make sure you wear your safety glasses and earmuffs, because it will shoot metal and it will be loud. I know I've said that before, but it's something you gotta do. So now that I have my ridge cap cut, I need to give it its rough shape and cut it to length before I drill it all out. So when you're doing this, you just heat it up with a torch. Aluminum doesn't have to be cherry like steel. A little bit of heat will do, and tap it with a hammer. Literally just tap it. You're not trying to bend the metal. The metal has a little bit of pressure against it. You're actually just relieving the stress on it. You can see how nice it just goes, just tapping it. So once I get it bent into its rough shape, I'm going to go ahead and mark out all my holes. So all my holes are nice and pretty and are on all even spacing. Now it's time to drill out all the holes in it and get those all filed into a square carriage bolt hole form so I can get it set on the roof and get the ridge cap in its final position before I silicone and bolt everything permanently. So it's finally that time for final installation. I got to go ahead and pull them back off, make sure all my surfaces are clean where I'm going to be using silicone. And I used a DAP product that said it was definitely good for aluminum because even paint has trouble sticking to aluminum. So, get all my surfaces cleaned off, goober it up with some silicone, put it back in place, and fasten the bolts down. And that is going to be that.